everyone again. This will be a video about a certain personal experience that I've gone through in my lifetime. I dated this guy all through high school, all 4 years. And for purposes, we'll call him Billy. I had met him in middle school, and it was only a very short, brief meet. He moved on to go to high school. He was always a grade above me. I did not run into him again until freshman year of band camp. Yes, I was a band kid. He played a different instrument and I was a flute player, but everything was going pretty well. We went to our first competition that year in 2013, and that very day he asked me out. Technically not him, but he had help asking me out, and I said yes. Didn't see a reason why not. Well, that same night we won by default our first championship, and life was great. I was enjoying it. I was enjoying the night with, hey, my new boyfriend. I was enjoying everything. Well, later down the road, I want to say maybe just weeks into the relationship, he tried to inappropriately touch me. I freaked out and I did not know what to do. I freaked out and I said, we can't be doing this. No. I told family members and they were very pissed. They wanted to kill him. I talked him out of it. So later, I forgot about it. That should have been my first red flag for me, but I completely ignored it. It later on then turned into our 1 year anniversary. We barely spent any time together outside of school, hardly at all. He always gave excuses as to it being his family needing him always at home, or he's doing this or he's doing that, which at that time I understood. It's not like I was mad, but that should have been another red flag for me, but I was oblivious. And then, years 2, 3, and 4 rolled around, and I left him 3 different times. First time was during the summer after my freshman year. Yeah, something like that. We were having I want to say it was a Fun Fest parade, and days before we all got together for practice for band was when I left him because he wanted to call a very close friend of mine at that time, a bitch, for taking my side and calling him out on his excuses and his BS. Called her a bitch, and I said, you are not going to do that to me, and you're certainly not going to do it to my friends. I'm done. It hurt for me to say I'm done, but I was given no other choice in the matter. Well, it wasn't until days later when we all got together for practice that very same day at the parade was when we got back together, and that was my choice to make. We were happy until the second time had rolled around. 1 year for Christmas, I went up to my grandparents. It was family tradition. And we went to go see my grandparents, have Christmas Eve up there, blah, 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 blah. Well, on the way home, he had actually told me he had a Christmas gift for me. I apologize for my stuttering. He said, would you like your gift tonight or tomorrow morning? I said tomorrow morning. I was happy I was going to get to see him in person. Of course, by this point, like I said earlier, we barely spent any time outside of school together. We had 4 dates total throughout that whole relationship. And, well, next morning rolls around Christmas Day. You know, I get up, he and I are talking, and it was not an actual Christmas gift that he was wanting to send me. He was not coming to the apartment I was living in. It was on a picture that I told him no repeatedly, over and over again. He sent it anyway, and I did not speak to him for the rest of the day after that. I didn't speak to him for the rest of the day. I had told him no repeatedly, and he still didn't listen to me. Another red flag. Doesn't want to listen, doesn't care about my feelings. He only cares about he only cared about what he thought. Well, New Year's rolled around that year, and I had enough of the same type of BS. I said it's over. I was starting a new year without him. This was 2016. And that very same amount of days, we were just days apart. I had blocked him on Messenger. I blocked him on everything. I was finally starting to accept the process of letting go. It hurt very badly. But it was something I needed to do for myself. It's something I needed to do for the sake of my mentality, and my happiness should have came first, whether I was with him or not. Well, I was finally starting to do that. Until he decided to text me January 3rd, that just days after the breakup. 3 o'clock in the morning was when he decided to put up a fight with me. No, I'm sorry, it was 2017. He put up a fight, and it was pretty bad. He was guilt tripping me about taking me to my senior prom, guilt tripping me about getting back with me getting back with him, whatever, just about every single little thing. I said it's over, and he wanted to at least be friends, and I said I can't do that with somebody that I dated for 3 years. He also was going to propose to me after graduation. He guilt tripped me with that. It was bad. Very bad. I cried. I didn't sleep at all that night. My mother then stepped in and did her best to get us to talk. He was even guilt tripping her into getting me to talk to him again. He was being a little wuss because he wouldn't own up for what he had said, for what he had done, everything. He wouldn't own up to anything. I unblocked him, and we were talking, and he proposed to me over Messenger. There was nothing romantic about it. There was nothing sweet. It was flat boring. And all he said was, I'm dying to know your answer. And naive me, I said yes. And I was happy once again. He was back in my life again. There was a lot of red flags I missed. A lot. Especially at that time. After graduation was said and done, I barely saw him again. It was still another red flag for me that I should have realized. He would never come to see me. He was making excuses, and I won't go into too much detail about this either, but I'm making this video for a reason. I was forced to do things I was not comfortable with, and I told him this over and over again. He did not want to listen to me. He only cared about what he wanted to do, what he wanted from me, what he wanted to call me, what he wanted to say. I mean, he treated me like I was his dog. Like he could just put a leash on me and a collar and call me his dog. He's into that. He has a fetish for it. I was not comfortable with it, and he knew this, and I told him this, and he just didn't care. Flat out did not care. Now, at that point, when he was doing all of this, I was getting told by my friends that he was cheating on me. And it was really starting to make sense in my head. But I didn't want to believe it. I was very naive, and I just did not want to believe it whatsoever. So I ignored it. I pushed it away. You know, it's off to the side. I'm not going to think about it anymore, and just let it go. Well, I finally had enough. The very last time I broke up with him was in 2017. Any other time that I left him, he threatened to kill himself over me leaving him. But he also knew what he did wrong. He refused to fix his issues. It would be fine for 3 days, and then it would fall back into the very same BS that was the cause of me breaking up with him before. Huge red flag again. So the very last straw for me in 2017, October 18th, the day before our 4-year anniversary was October 19th. He told me that he would not be able to come and see me on our 4-year anniversary. And I said, why is that? And his response was, because then I would finally get a break, but I could come see you on November 3rd, which was, no, not November 3rd. It was like November 23rd or something like that, one of the two. But it was still like a month after our 4-year anniversary. And I said, you know what, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. That was the last straw for me. I'm done. The relationship is gone. The engagement's off. We are done. And he still threatened to kill himself. He still threatened to do all of this and more. The time before this, in September, same year, I went to a concert. And he and I were talking, and he and I got into a fight because I wanted to see him. It had been 2 months since I last saw him. And he knew this. He knew it had been that long. I got lucky to see him once every 2 months. Lucky. And it wouldn't be for hours. It wouldn't be for a full day. It'd just be like, right at, give it close to an hour. Close as you could get. And then he'd leave. It'd be months later after that. So we fought that night, the night that I went to a concert, and he said that we needed to wait for the right time, and I said, what the hell was I supposed to mean? Of course he wouldn't elaborate. He wouldn't tell me. It was another one of his excuses. moving forward. I left him the day before our 4-year anniversary. He gave me no other choice. We tried being civil. He still had his stuff at my apartment. Not my apartment, but the one I was living in with my brother and my mother. And I told him he still has stuff there. He said to just toss away, he'd be able to replace it. And I said, okay, fine. I tossed away his hoodie that he can't replace. I tossed away 2 necklaces one that he made and one he bought for me, into the dumpster. And that was the end of it. Or so I thought. We did not speak for a very long time. Not a very long time. We didn't speak until, I want to say, April. Wait a minute. About 4 or 5 months after the breakup was when I wanted to at least be civil, because I was still in a very vulnerable place and I didn't want him completely out of my life just at that point. Not yet. I wanted to attempt to be friends. This is 2018. And this is when I moved with my family from Kingsport to Bluff City. We're in this new trailer and it was rough. That's when my depression and my anxiety started off very bad. We tried to be civil. It worked it was fine for a little bit. He hits me up one night and tries to tell me that he is drunk off his ass. You know, he's naming off these different alcohol beverages that he drank. And I said, hold up. There's no way you would have drank that much. Because at that point, had you drank that much, you would have been done passed out on your ass. But I let him say whatever he wanted. He was trying to pull my leg to see if I still cared. And I said, hold up. I didn't start tasting alcohol until I was 16. You wanted to yell at me for that, but yet you can go off and drink all this and still text me just because I'm someone that you know and that's someone you used to date and be familiar with. I said, whatever. Not trying to cause an argument, but that just really pissed me off. He didn't care. Not one bit did he care. The very next night after that was when he tells me that the girl he'd been talking to for 2 weeks. Before this, he tells me he's in love with her and that she was on a business meeting in South Africa or something, and that she's Australian. Trying to make me jealous. Did not work. He wanted to tell me that they've been chatting for 2 weeks. He was already in love with her, blah, 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 this, that, the third, and it didn't work. That one bit. Moving forward, he tells me that the girl he'd been talking to for 2 weeks scammed him under his nose for his money. He goes to Craigslist, hits up with this girl on there, sends her iTunes cards, and replies back to me and says, I guess you can guess what followed. And I just said, wow. I had nothing else to say but wow. So, continuing, he said he lost a full month's pay from doing that, and that he drank it off and he was fine. And I told him, I said, I hope you never ever do something stupid like that again. And he said, trust me, I want to learn my lesson. And I said, okay. I dropped the subject, didn't pick it back up, I dropped it. And then he said, I wish there were more people like you. And I said, what do you mean by that? And he said, how nice and caring you are. And I said, wait a minute, you're saying all this now when it could have mattered in the relationship before I left you? And that's where the ball started rolling, because he was saying shit on purpose to piss me off, and it just really got me going. He admitted the very harsh truth to me in 2018. He said that I was nothing but an easy lay to him, that he was gonna dump me in a week, that after he got what he was gonna get from me, he was gonna leave me in a week. He battled whether he was in love with me or not. It was always a constant battle in his head, and that really, really left scars on me. He was being very manipulative, trying to control the situation by trying to hurt me. I told him, I said, what you just said right there, I can't be friends with you. Not after what you just said. That left permanent scars. I sent him a very long paragraph going off on him, and I blocked him. And I want to say maybe a week later, I wasn't finished going off on him, so I sent him another paragraph, and then I reblocked him. Probably should not have done that, but I was very upset. But then that's when in 2017 was when my depression and anxiety started getting very bad in the very start. I suffered for a year and a half, almost 2, with depression and anxiety at that point. 2019 rolls around, and I will not get into that subject. That'll be for a different time. In 2020, last year, I went through a lot. I went through a lot of family drama. I went through a lot of people stabbing me in the back when it was very uncalled for. Things being said about me that were not true, which again, video for a different time. In November of 2020 was when I made the choice to put in my 2 weeks notice at my old job, and I got the hell out of a very toxic environment. I got out. I was in a very, very, very dark place. In December of 2020, I fell deeper and deeper, and I thought I couldn't stop myself, but I did. Which wasn't until January of this year when I finally stopped myself. It's like I had a very huge wake-up call. But in December, I actually started talking to Billy again. Started talking to him. I had help realizing that a part of me still did love him because he was my first love. All 4 years of high school, I messaged him on a separate social media app, and I said, we can talk on Messenger, we'll talk about everything. You just really have to give me time and be patient with me. He said, okay. Well, we met up again in person when I moved out from my mother's. I moved in with someone who was like my sister, and I live with her now. I saw Billy again for the first time face to face since 2017. It had been that long since I last saw him face to face. I cried, and I could not help it. We talked, and everything we did, it was pure peace at that point for me. It was peaceful, and and I felt like there was nothing wrong with it at that time. He kissed me on the cheek that very night and left. Told me when he got home and everything like that. Everything was going so great for a change. Until the whole situation took a turn for the worst. I wanted to see him, but he said that no, it couldn't happen. He wanted it to be as if I wanted to see him every other day, but no, that wasn't the case, and he wouldn't give me the time to explain myself. He wanted to keep us a secret from his family, and I told him, I said, I do not care what your family thinks of me. What you think of us is the only important thing to me in my life right now. Stand up to your family or watch me walk again. Well, by God, he watched me walk again because I wasn't going to deal with it. There were things that I had said to him that were very harsh but true. In 2018, going back a little bit, in 2018, he had tried to get with 6 of my friends, and one of them being a guy, asking so-and-so if he could do some things to see what it's like because he was bi-curious. But failed to tell me the very last time I spoke to him in 2018. Fails to tell me this. A friend of mine actually catfished him and said, your ex-girlfriend knows I'm doing this, so you're busted. Gotta love my friends. Lord, she didn't have to do that, but she did anyway. But moving forward now. In the heat of the moment, I called him out on his sexuality, but he didn't know about mine. That's because I wasn't officially out yet, and I wasn't about to let him know. And there were things I said that were harsh, but again, they were true. He said it was low for me to call him out on his sexuality. And the way I see it is you're either going to be proud of it or get out of a toxic family who takes reins of your relationship. Because his family took the reins of our relationship. He let them control what he did when it came to he and I. When I threw a fit over us not being engaged, saying we're engaged on Facebook, I threw the worst fit over it because he kept it from his family. He kept the engagement from them, his entire family. We got into a fight about it, and he said, you know what, screw them, do it. Well, I tagged him in the post, and his family was asking all these sorts of questions. Later that night, well, throughout the evening, was when I had my college classes. And in the midst of me getting home that night was when he tells me that his mom told him to leave me a second time. It wasn't the first time she had said it. His dad said he couldn't marry me. He was walking into a nightmare. And his dad made up a lie about me, saying I called him a customer and I hung up. And he believed his dad over me. And finally, his grandmother said I looked like a very controlling person, which was not true at all. All I wanted from him was to reciprocate how I felt towards him, for him to understand where I'm coming from, but he failed at that every single time. I mean, there were so many red flags that I missed and I was oblivious to, that I kept hidden, and all of this led to me getting brokenhearted so bad that I questioned if I was the issue in any of the relationships that were going to follow. The day that he and I fought in December of 2020, I blocked him and I have not talked to him since. My point of this video is if you're going to be with somebody, please make sure they feel the same way about you before you get too committed. Because if you fall in too deep and you start seeing their true colors behind that mask and that front they want to put up in front of you and your family and your friends, and he is horrible to you behind closed doors, get out. And the same thing goes for guys. I mean, if she is horrible to you behind closed doors, if she is putting up a front in front of your friends, your family, or if she's controlling who you talk to or who you don't talk to, and vice versa, get out. If you are seeing red flags before you are even with this person, like in a very committed relationship, get the hell out. Because if you don't, you are going to wind up wasting so much of your time, so much of your energy, so much of your efforts into this one person. If things go south so quickly and you end it and you are so crushed, you're going to lose your faith in ever finding your one true person. Because at this point in my life, I have lost that faith in it ever being different for me. To guys, I am seen as just a toy. Apparently, I have the words "use me" tattooed on my forehead for them to mess around with. And an object and a toy is not who I am. A toy and an object is not who any of you are. That's who nobody is. Everyone in their own way is unique and bright and soaring with confidence. Everyone is like that in their own way. Everyone is a queen. Everyone is a king, a prince, a princess in their own way, effortlessly in their own way. My point of this whole video is for you to understand that once you see those red flags, you get out. That's all for now. Thank you.